till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. One West till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. They ain't scaring me. Rip the soul out of Pharisee. Speaking heresy, it get you fucked up apparently. It's like they daring me. I said chill, they ain't hearing me. They ain't listening. Every bar nitroglycerin. Hit your heart, bring it back to start, make you live again. Getting dividends, so we start getting ignorant. I be on that soldier shit. I told you shit phenomenal. Nobody a domino, so what you sucker trying to do? Rhyming comical, guess it's funny until I'm bombing you. Bring apocalypse to them pussy niggas that's popping shit. Team of all-stars, I coach them up like I'm Popovich. Fuck the politics and the lobbyists and apologists. They vagina, so we gon' check them like gynecologists. It's kinda obvious how the situation is ominous. The way I vomit this and regurgitate for the audience. They start applauding this cause the competition is fraudulent. From the era where niggas smoke you up like a parliament. The flow been stupid, shit has gotten retarded since all the dominance of one West rising to prominent. Cause I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. They want a nigga quiet, mute my maneuvers. But I ride like I got group eyes for Uber. Rhymes hard like they been viewed by Medusa. 9 milli Luger, 17 in the Ruger. Only need a few to sit up in your medulla. Obligata for the regatta, niggas wildin', they win every dollar. They riding by black Impalas, let the semi holler. A showstopper, been the stopper since the teeny bopper. But now I'm throwing them off Patron, premium of vodka. I put extensions on the Glock, modify the chopper. The swore heavy, war ready, and that's working mama. No marijuana, say I got the loudest silence on it. When I'm up on it, ain't no rapper do it like I do it. A lot of spitties and writers, but when the heat's on, none of them can get to the fire around with me. And I had them niggas spin like a tire, down the deep. And I'm still dope as a piper. Every bar burn hard like a spoon with a lighter. Fuel to igniter, I'm winning, coming through with the title because UP. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me.
That is bleak.
He won't stop, yeah. He won't stop, yeah. Blessed by the Most High. With my motherfucking eyes, how you gonna stop it? You with what on me? Won't stop, yeah. He won't stop, yeah. Blessed by the Most High. With my motherfucking eyes, how you gonna stop it? You with what on me? Solana on my eyes, we won't stop. Sitting them zones, taking back these lies. They don't wanna know what we be like. Home of the truth in the bed, don't watch. Giving the word, making this move. We can't stop, we can't lose. At school, start your new one way school. Lace your boots, color the truth. I can go really straight out the damn zoo. Fuck with the I cannot pop at your do. Everybody trying to be a Hebrew, yeah. We're fucking with the one West. I don't know nobody in the flesh. Up on the news and we talk to the press. I'll put the sword to your neck. Who next to flex? I suggest you stay out to play. Won't feel like every day. Hey, one way to PK. Hey, ain't no other way. Hey, he won't stop. Yeah, he won't stop. Yeah, blessed by the Most High. With my motherfucking eyes, how you gonna stop it? You with what on me? Won't stop. Yeah, he won't stop, yeah. Blessed by the Most High. With my motherfucking eyes, how you gonna stop it? You with what on me?
robbing and killing in the ghetto, living in filth and squalor. This don't have to be our life. This life been given to us by them low-life niggas you call black leaders.
One West, UPK, 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 UPK. UPK, 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 One West motherfucking UPK, 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 warfare every motherfucking day.
ISUPK.
So tell me, how can I turn the other cheek while this wicked world trying to smother me? Something gotta shake, I'm on pride. Time to gird up my loins and ride out. In my soul, I feel devastation. In my eyes, I see desolation. On my door, death is waiting. But I don't want to see no more desolation.
Here's the great thing. The Bible says, don't be a false accuser. The Bible says, don't be a false accuser. And you accused us falsely. You accusing us falsely. Right, and you did, and you admitted that, right? So wait, now that's good. But wait, before you say that, how you gonna come accuse somebody and then say, look, well, I got something. Look, you still accusing us. But now, proof. Where is your proof that we are a hate group? Prove it. All right.
How can a man be born again?
I said, where's your proof that we're a hate group?
Answer that question. How can
A man can be born again, except he be born in the spirit, and he got to become like a child. That's what Christ said.
Okay.
And then you got to follow Christ. Remember what he told the publican? He said, go sell everything and follow me.
Okay.
That's how you be born again. You be born again by not sinning and following Christ.
No, sir.
No,
sir.
Oh,
You're a
prove that.
Pharisee.
Prove
You're
it.
a Pharisee.
Prove it.
The only way you can be
Prove
born again,
it.
Ephesians 2:8-9.
Prove it.
The only way you can be
Prove
born
it.
is through the blood of Jesus.
And what does that
Jesus
mean?
Christ came and died for everybody.
To do what?
Not just the blacks,
Wait.
just not the Latinos, and
To
not the
do
Native
what?
Americans.
Did he come
Just
so I could be
because
a
you
child
wear
molester?
fringes,
Did he
just
come so I could
because you
smoke
don't wear
weed?
your-
Hey, Shalom Israel, we're going to get started now. We're going to kick it off. We're going to get our class in. You're going to see. You're going to clap it up. You're going to clap it up. Hey, Shalom Trooper. Is everything to well?
Everything's too well. What's yourself, Father One?
Okay, everything is to well. We have a by Shimmy, have a shot, all the brothers. You have a Shema Al by Shimmy, have a shot, all the sisters. Yeah, everything is to well here. Everything is definitely to well. We want to talk a little bit about, if you got any questions, just feel free to ask. And we're going to get into some current events like I normally do. And then we're going to get into some, of course, some current local events, some current world events. And I actually want to start off a little bit of farming tips as a farmer. I would say to all who may hear me, go to my shorts on the YouTube. I've been doing shorts every so often. Try to do a short a day with a little bit of farm stuff, a little bit of things about the farm. So, yeah, check the shorts out and see what I'm saying about the farm. And again, as you're saying, if you have a yard, plant a small garden. You have a back porch, plant a plant. If you have a balcony, plant a plant. Okay, so don't just sit down on your laurels. Start planting something. If only for a hobby. You will find this hobby may be beneficial. It may at least provide you with something you do not have to purchase. Go to the store and purchase. You never know, and it could grow. Okay, you may get to like it. You may start with one plant on your back porch or your high-rise porch or wherever it is, and then you may end up getting several. So I encourage you to do just that. Go ahead and plant some stuff. You know, like I say, it's going to be beneficial. Okay, let's get into a couple of the current events here. And as I try to remind each person in Israel that we're all the same. Wherever you are on this earth, all Israel are going to be suffering the same challenges, the same curses. That's how we can identify ourselves so easily. Okay, now we had a young man, and this is not the first time these things happen. We had a young man had died in I think it was a 3-car collision. They say sometimes they say speed may have been a factor in this. I think he had a head-on with a semi-tractor trailer, and this is only speculation. You know, you want to leave some area for, of course, for speculation. But again, died on impact. It's just an indicator of how we're still enslaved. It's just an indication that we don't feel the freedom to do things, so we do all sorts of stuff to feel free. And I know a lot of times we don't even recognize that, but we do things just to feel free. And I think that's one of the things we do. This excessive speeding on the roads, you know, and now there are times you speed. You got a car built for speed and you're on the racetrack, that's the time to speed. Okay, the roads are not built for a certain amount of speed, and the cars are not built for a certain amount of speeds. And definitely, the type of cars we're purchasing now in the Bahamas is just a really, really small Japanese cars, Chinese, mostly Japanese, Korean and Japanese cars. They're small and they move very quickly, but they have very, very little heavy metal on them. So that means in a collision, the car is going to fold up. There's going to be no protection for you. This is not the American muscle car. Okay, that's not the American muscle car. These little cars that we're getting in the Bahamas now, they're small. We call them matchbox. You know, the little box of matches. That's how we said that they're so small, they're just like matchboxes. And so we advise people who have those cars not to drive excessively fast. Know the danger in your operating of a motor vehicle. Okay, your motor vehicle cannot do certain things. You cannot turn at a 90 degree turn. If you're speeding out there and you see a car coming head on, you're not going to be able to escape it. You have to understand the physics behind these vehicles before you get behind the wheel. So just take your time. Take another minute. There's nowhere on this island where we live that you can't get to from a central point. The most time you can take is probably get maybe an hour and a half. That's to the end of the island. And that means wherever you have to go, it's only going to take you 15 minutes more than likely to get there. Why would you excessively speed? It's just another thing that we've not been free. We've not had that freedom to feel like we don't have to rush anywhere. We all just rush everywhere, just trying to make $1 to keep the system afloat. So as one of the things that happened, I want to say another thing in the current events. Just generally how we in this system actually fuels the system. I know a lot of people might not even think about it, but the fact that you have a job, your job, you pay taxes, and anything you purchase, right? Anything you purchase, it goes to the vendors. There's a certain amount of profit that goes to the vendors. There's a certain amount of profit, the taxes that go to the government. At the end of the day, most of the Israelites don't have $50 in their account at the end of every week. And this is why we say you live in paycheck to paycheck. Because if that paycheck doesn't come the next week, you probably can't even put fuel in your car to go to work on the Monday morning. If that paycheck doesn't come on the Friday. Or whenever your paycheck comes. If it comes on once a month, if that once a month goes into 5 weeks, you'll probably not have the money to move around, to pay your little bills. Because you might not understand. We've been in this situation so long we've been propping up the societies where we find ourselves. We've been giving all of our monies to other nations, and so we're not in the position, and then we've not gotten into the habit of trying to build the nation. You know, we've just been the first opportunity we get, we run away from family members, so we don't even produce this cohesiveness in families where families could live to support each other and minimize the bills. No, we don't do that. Again, that's another indication of the slavery. Go and read Deuteronomy 28 and you'll see it right in there. All right. Now that's a couple of the things that happened on the island of, I mean, that's one of the things, and then that's basically my personal opinion on slavery and how we work therein. Some years ago, I calculated the amount of money I make on just on a yearly basis. It was mind-boggling. If you think about it, if you think about the amount of money you make over the last 15 or 20 years, and you wonder, man, if I had all that money one time, what would I do with it? You know, and the key to that is try and save a few of them dollars as you go along the line, along your day, and maybe in a few years you could have a substantial amount of money to make an impact and a difference in your own life. But because the system calls for money all the time, every time you turn around, it's calling for money, and you get so used to it. You're used to being broke. Every time you get paid, you're used to paying all your money out, leaving with maybe $20, $30. And then some people say, well, I got to go have fun with this $30. And at the end of the day, they don't leave with any money. Had fun with the last $30 from the paycheck. They probably paid all their bills and don't have any more money. So they go to work on Monday morning, have to buy some lunch, have to credit it from the lunch person. That's ridiculous, okay? So, again, that just shows, listen, we're still in our slavery. We're still oppressed. We're not in our own land. And things are definitely not going in the favor of the Israelites. People don't even recognize, and this is my topic, is going to be trying to recognize that you are an Israelite. That's my topic for the night. That's basically what I want to talk about. What else is going on around the world? Let me know that the skirmishes, the wars, the threats, all these things are still going on. Agent Orange is still locking up. I think he's gonna soon hopefully he'll call the war a win, you know, because he say whatever he want. He say, oh, I win that, now we can move on. I hope he heard do it, say he win and move on, because the longer this war goes on, especially this one with Israel and Iran, you know, as long as at least America, as long as that go on with Iran, as long as that go on, it's going to definitely create an issue, because right now the report says like 1,000 ships bottleneck in the straits by Iran, the straits, right? So there's 1,000 ships just afraid to move, because even though they were saying that only the ships that had linkages to Israel and America, they were not going to allow, but again, they said that they must have fired on some other ships, so now everybody's afraid to go through. So now we have this blockage of ships just anchor. So all the products you're waiting on is out there in the sea. And the oil, they say, is at least 200 tankers with oil just waiting to move. And so if the oil don't move, we're gonna feel it around the world. Definitely. Even though you might not even know where the Bahamas is, we'll feel it in the Bahamas. We do. And as I said on the other live, they don't wait to run out of our fuel to increase. Even though they have whatever fuel in the tanks, when they increase, they say, okay, we can increase the fuel prices now. You might say, but you all still have a half a tank of fuel. Why would you? They don't care. They increase it then. And when the opposite happens, they don't do it the other way. Like they wouldn't wait till they use up all of the expensive fuel and then bring in the new fuel. No. They can bring in the new, whatever it is, the highest value fuel, they're going to sell at that given time, anytime. So, and the fuel is not going to drop until they use up all the high price fuel. So, again, a next indication of our slavery in the Bahamas. So I don't want anybody in any other part of the earth to believe that in the Bahamas things are different. No. Whatever you're suffering wherever you are, that is what we suffer similarly right here in the Bahamas. So, wars are going on, rumors of war, Everybody is saying, well, we hope it eases down, and it seems like it might, because if it doesn't, if it doesn't slow down, it's going to be serious. All right, because if it doesn't slow down, it escalates into nuclear war. So the truth is, it have to slow down, because I mean, I'm not the person to tell you the time, but I think we still a little bit off from that time. So Lord allows it slows down a little bit, because if it doesn't, we all will be in trouble. Okay, so I'm gonna get ready to jump into my topic if there's no question. And when I teach this class, I would like to present this like a case I'm presenting to you, to almost like a court case. I want to present to you who do not know that you are of the house of Israel, to try and convince you, to tell you to look at some information. Because if you don't think that you are, that only means that you've never studied the information. You've listened to other people tell you who you are, and more than likely, let me tell you, more than likely, you are in your mind. Most Israelites are Gentiles in their mind. And whereas you might even be a Gentile, but you are an Israelite. Now, so yeah, you are an Israelite, but you might be acting like a Gentile. Okay, so what I want to go through some of the scriptures to really convince you, and hopefully at the end of this class, I will have convinced you of who you are and my reason for going through this. In trying to convince you of who you are, you need to be, once you become convinced, realize that you now become responsible. Realize you now become accountable. You now to the position where there's no excuse. Once you become aware of this information, it's not good, it's not healthy to be going back and forth in your mind. I know the scriptures say a wise man falleth down and he stand back up, I think 7 times. But what I say to you is, firm up yourself, minimize them falls, and keep pushing. Push so hard that everything else, you just don't even think about it. Push so hard that the things that concerns the Lord, that's what you focus on. And that's what I want. So I want to convince you that you are Israel. And then when you be convinced that you are Israel, that you push so hard that you don't even think about looking back. So I want to convince you, and I don't want to start. So should we go to Deuteronomy chapter 27 in the first verse?
Okay.
Brother, just read it when you get it.
Okay. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 27, verse 1. And Moses, with the elders of Israel, commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments which I command you this day.
Okay. Now, a lot of times, we don't realize who we are, because we were told that we are, because of our skin color, we are Africans. But I want to bring this to you quite quickly. Just let me make the paint a picture of where we are now. And Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, and he said, keep these commandments. Now, where this is happening? This is happening after the children of Israel came out of Egypt. Now, they came out by a mighty hand. The last thing was the Lord had to kill the firstborn before Egypt let them go. And when Egypt let them go, Pharaoh changed his mind. And then, of course, he chased them with the chariots. The sea opened up. They went through the sea. And then as Pharaoh and his army tried to go behind them, they were drowned in the waters. Okay, so now after getting on the other side, and Moses went to seek the Lord, the mount, and the Lord gave him the laws. And the Lord start to speak these laws to the children of Israel. And then the children of Israel say to Moses, say, you talk a lot to the Lord and then talk to us because he's so scary. We're afraid of him. So now Moses got the laws, and what he's rehashing this in their ear. In Deuteronomy chapter 27, he said, and Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all these commandments which I commanded you this day. Now, he's telling them because they were a part of the whole transaction when the Lord started to give them the commandments. So he's telling them, now, I'm trying to tell you who you are, trying to convince you that you are an Israelite. We're going to go into that, but just know the commandments is one the Israelites have to keep. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and the first verse, and when you get it, just go right ahead and read it, Trooper.
Okay. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to serve and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
John, this Deuteronomy chapter 28, this is a heavy book. We're going to be looking at some verses in this. This is definitely one of the identifying markers to tell you, to convince you of who you are. And this is what I'm going to be using for the rest of our class, maybe the information, to convince you of who you are. Now, at the end of this convincing, so for everyone who's convinced, then Salakia. That's on it. Yeah. As I try my endeavor to convince you about this, that you really take on the spirit, take on the vibe of the Most High, and then just buckle down and then realize it's just like you get in let me see how best I could say. You get in a ride, and now I don't like things like there's rides at the carnivals and things. I don't particularly like those kind of things, right? So, but you get into one of those rides and you hold on and you wait till the end of the ride and you're safe at the end. My analogy here is that you get in here, you learn, you buckle yourself down. First, I like to use this term. To get in here, you have to get all the way in. You can't put your foot halfway in and halfway out. Just how we used to take a cannonball jump into the pool. That's what you have to do. Take a cannonball jump right into the scripture and into the truth, and leave everything else behind. Yep, I know it's difficult, but if you really want to grow, that's what you have to do. You have to leave. You have to empty everything out what you had inside you. Yeah, I know I'm talking. I know it's easier said than done, but you must empty everything out what you had inside you when it comes to Christianity. Whatever religion you come from, you have to endeavor to empty that out, and then allow this truth to fill you back up. And the way to do that, whenever, I'll tell you the easiest way to do that, whenever what you read, whenever the truth presents itself and you still got some vestiges, some parts, some fragments of Christianity inside you, dispel that when the truth comes in. That means, let's just say, you're learning in the truth. You're learning that the Trinity does not exist. Not like that, right? So, if you have some vestiges and some pieces in your mind that it does, what I'm saying is when you are presented with the Trinity does not exist, throw that other stuff out. Throw the Trinity out your mind. And then whatever your PK is teaching you, put that in your mind. That's how to do it. You're not going to be able to you can't wish it away, you got to wake it away. You got to actively decide what you're going to do from what you're not going to do. Okay, so again, I'm going to this verse, Deuteronomy chapter 28, and it shall come to pass. And again, I'm trying to tell you your identity. I'm trying to tell you, once you grasp onto that identity, hold on to that tight. Because when you hold on to that, you can also find You're going to be in for the fight of your life. Okay? You're going to be in for the fight of your life. Life is about war. And that's what you're going to be fighting. You're going to be fighting yourself every day. You're going to be fighting your friends and your family every day. You'll be fighting your spouse if you have one. Yeah, life will be definitely about war. And if your life is not about war, you could very well not be the right place. But if your life is about war, you have to understand that that's the challenge. That's part of making you into the new creature. That's the part of putting you in the furnace, and that you come out sparkling. So Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1. Read it again for me, Trooper.
Okay. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Okay, I normally would use this at this point. The position now. First, the position of the where you are. Some people, I realize that some people don't even realize that they're Israel. So as I'm just thinking, but I said, no, but those people who don't even understand and think that they're Israel, how do I get across to them? Now, just look at where you are in the world as a collective, as a nation, as a group of people. Look to see where you are. Okay? Look, and of course there are exceptions to every rule. So when you look to see where you are, don't find one person who may be somewhere near the top and say, "Oh, that one person up there." No, that's not the rule. That's the exception. Look at where your people are. The people that looks like you. Where are they? Are they at the top of all the nations on the earth? Are they, as the Bible say? Will they be above all the nations of the earth? Because the Lord say, the Lord thy God will set thee on high. Why would the Lord set thee on high? You know why the Lord can set thee on? The Lord set thee on high? Because you observe and to do all his commandments which he commanded that day. Which day that is? That's the day, as I was referencing in the first part with Moses in chapter 27 and 1, Deuteronomy. Now, he's saying, now, this obviously, this agreement happened with our forefathers, right? But our forefathers are us. Our forefathers, and we, the forefathers start the journey and we continue in it. So we don't see the difference. The only thing we see that they didn't do it. And this is what we come to understand right now. They had the commandments to obey, and if they had, they would have been on the top of all the nations of the earth. Now, you may not see the different 17 nations because you may never thought about it, you may never think about it. You didn't even think about that with other nations on the earth. But there are other nations on the earth. There are, I think if I get it right, there are 17 other nations, and I think we make 18. So there are 17 other nations on the earth, and we would have been to them at the top. The Lord would have put us on high above all those nations on the earth. But you know where we are right now? To the bottom. Now, I mean, I'm telling you this for you to do the research. You check into it yourself, and you tell me where you are. If you think you are, if you're a nation, not just now, understand, not just you as an individual. Look at a group of your people, and see where they are. See if they're at the bottom, or see if they're at the top. We know, and I'm talking about the running on the earth, the very top people who are on the earth, the very, very top. Now, I would say that these the people who run the earth have a certain ethnicity, and it's not Israelites. It may even be from a Jewish persuasion, but again, it wouldn't be our people. So now, where we find ourselves, and I wouldn't go through all of the blessings, but I should touch on a couple of them. Now, let me see which. touch on Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1. It gives us an overall of what the Lord said to our forefathers through Moses, that if you obey, you will be on the top of all the nations on the earth. And he also said, just read a couple of the blessings in there. Trooper, read, let's jump through it. Because in your own time, as you listen to this live, you could go ahead and read the other ones. Read Deuteronomy 28 and the 4th verse.
Honorable Khan. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 4. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
Khan. So this is what he's saying is blessing. And if you notice, a few of the verses start with blessing, and if the verse doesn't have blessing in it, it also talk about how you will be blessed. So all of these verses, all the way from 1, at least from 2, all the way to 15, tells you about blessing. And you get another one. So that one was just talking about blessings and the food of your body. If you're planting and growing and cattle and all. And of course, we had a lot of agriculture metaphor from Christ. And in those days, because that was basically the main source of income, people planted and grew. They had husbandry and animal rearing, that crop rearing, because they made sure that they had food to their family. So they thought ahead. And so what is it saying? You'll be blessed. You'll be blessed. And read 7 to Shalaki, Baba Kashar.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 7. The Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways.
Okay, again, this is something. This is another thing. If our forefathers had stick with the simple thing as Moses and the Most High had said, just stick with the commandments. All right? Just stick with the commandments. And so what would have happened when our enemies come out against us? They couldn't win because we were doing all the commandments. And this is seen not just here. This is actually seen when we go through the scriptures. You will see whenever Israel was not obeying the commandments, Israel was losing wars. Okay. Go to 28 and verse 9, Baba Kashar.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 9. The Lord shall establish thee an holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God and walk in his ways.
God. You see what the Lord saying? The Lord, he want to establish us. He wanted to establish our forefathers. And now, actually, he wanted to establish our forefathers, and now this actually falls right on our shoulder. We are able to walk right into this covenant and do these things where our forefathers would have failed because of Christ and his grace. So the Lord shall establish thee an holy people unto himself. As us, we need to do that. And as he has sworn unto thee, if thou shalt, again, this keep coming back up, keep the commandments of the Lord thy God and walk in his way. And that's it. I mean, it's not all a most difficult thing to understand. It's quite simple to understand what the Lord wants us to do. But it seems like I think the whole conspiracy causes us not to do it, because it's those people who know that if we follow the Lord, we will be the strongest, the most powerful people on this earth. But as long as they have us disobeying the Lord in all the subtle ways, eating crab, shrimp, lobster, because they make it more abundant and call it a delicacy, and pork, they make these things so attractive to us. and we don't realize that it's actually going against God. So when we do that, the Lord actually he backs off away from us. All right. Read verse number 12, Baba Kasha.
Honorable Khan. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 12. The Lord shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven to give the rain unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the work of thine hand, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow.
Hey, God. The Lord, like I say, in those days, agriculture was key. And what he's saying is, listen, you can have nice rain, you can have abundance. You can have so much in abundance that you'll be able to lend to many nations, and you wouldn't have to borrow. Right now, the way a life of a black man is borrowing. He's gonna borrow. He's gonna borrow. And the funny thing about the trooper, I've seen people borrow. And you know why they borrow? Because they didn't have it. And the striking thing is, I will ask him now, you need to borrow this money, but you don't have it. And when you get paid, you still ain't gonna have it. So right now, you're not able to pay me back even when you get paid, because all your money is already used up. Why would you borrow money you can't pay back?
Honorable Khan.
It's like, yeah. And this is a, it's like, yeah, hold on for me. Okay. Yeah, and I'll tell you, this is something that has happened to me. A supposed to be friend of mine, he had borrowed. He said, "Man, I'm in a tight. I need to borrow some money." I said, let me say this to you. I said, now, I don't particularly want to lend you this money, but I need to do something with this money. And he said, no, man, I need to borrow this money, and I'm going to pay you all this money back. And trooper, let me tell you, I think it was with $1,500 I loaned this brother. And I got like $100 back, like a week. He said, well, this all I got this week, right? So this all I have this week. I said, bro, I tell you, I need to get my money back to do something. I hold off to try to help you. And this what you're going to do? But this all I have. And what could you do? But something, when he came back the next time, I said, no, bro, I'm not even lending you no money. You want $20, you could have it. Okay. You could have it. But I'm not the bank, and you're bad pay, so I can't lend you no more money. You want $20 to save your life? Yeah, take this $20. Don't ask me to borrow no money from me, because the last time you didn't pay back good. And this is what the Lord is saying. You would be in a position where you wouldn't have to be borrowing. And you see, our people don't realize this. All of this shows that we are, number one, Israel, and we are under the curse. That's a double whammy. No matter what you're doing, you may not have come to that understanding. And I'm saying this to the people in the live. You may not have come to that understanding, but when you do, when you come to that understanding, you will understand. You probably will be able to change it if you understand it. But if you don't understand it, you're not able to change it. Okay, go ahead and read 14, Baba Kasha.
Okay. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 14. And thou shalt not go aside from thy Salakia, from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them.
Okay. Now, let me tell you, this thing is so subtle that you end up serving other gods unbeknown to yourself. You serve other gods so subtly that the system is set up. Let me put it like this. You go into an arena to watch to watch a football game. Everybody's cheering for either team. Don't you know when you cheer, you support the team you're cheering for? So why don't people realize when they get into circumstances, maybe even a general one, that you actually support the deity who you cheer for? Break it down some more. The Lord say you shouldn't eat crab, shrimp, lobster, and pork. If you do that, aren't you aware that you're not supporting the Lord? You're actually going against what He wants you to do. People don't think about that. And you know something. The other thing is, you go against what He wants you to do, you end up serving other gods, and you never really experience the strength and the power right in your own life to make the changes and to make the stands that you need to be making from day to day. You don't, because you wouldn't do the simple things. The Lord tell you things that you shouldn't do. Now, we're gonna read down to the 15th verse down, Deuteronomy chapter 28, and this is where it changes. Okay, this is where it gets real. Now, this is where I'm gonna try and help you to recognize your identity if you didn't up to this point. Read 15 of the chapter 28, Baba Kashar.
Honorable Khan. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Hey, okay. Now, this is where if it wasn't real in the first part, it'd have to be real now, because our forefathers did not keep the commandments. And so now when we wake up, okay, you wake up, I'm saying this, you wake up, well, this could very well be somewhere close to 4,000 years or so, 4,000 years. You wake up now and not realizing everything that transpired between then and now. But you're here now. And even in more recent time, 6 generations, or even less, some of our people was in slavery 6 generations ago. And so now you now start to emerge and start to try to understand things, but you don't seem to be thinking about the things that happened prior to right now. You seem to be, because you cannot just go from where you are, because you have to understand where you came from so you can know where you're going. And most of our people do not know where they came from, so they lost on where they're going. They don't realize that number one, that they are Israelites, and they have a very, very serious role to fall into and to follow. They don't seem to understand that. All right. But in the 15th verse, it says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, and to observe to do all his commandments, and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon you and overtake thee. And that's what's happening. The curses have come upon us and overtake us. Now, this is where, if you didn't see where you are, see where you are now. Okay? Go ahead and read number 16, Baba Kajah.
Honorable Khan. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Now, even if let's try to switch this around to as modern times as we can. Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Now, even if you think about the fields and the times during slavery, it goes to the same. You know how people were cursed. If you think about modern time, our people are cursed even in the city. I watch a lot of the clips, the YouTubes and the things, to see the amount of disrespect that the 12 tribes are getting, especially in America, right? And of course, you got to be so careful on these YouTube, because they own the whole thing. Got to be so careful what you say. But there's a lot of disrespect going around, and it's because of our inability to follow the commandments. So these curses that, like I say, is going to follow and overtake us. So this is talking about it. They ain't only can follow your forefathers. They can follow them and they can overtake them. And when you come on the scene, they can be right there waiting on you. And that's what's happening with us. All of these curses is right here waiting on us. All right,
The lucky other one, if I may.
come with it.
Even during the time of slavery in the U.S., like with the Underground Railroad with Harriet Tubman, they would run from the field where they were enslaved at to the city, thinking that they would be free. But even there, people still ran into a lot of commotion.
Still
It's
was
like,
enslaved. Yeah, still was enslaved. Still was enslaved. Harriet Tubman said she could have freed much more people if they knew they were slaves. But yeah, that's definitely an indicator for then and for now. How do we break this down even for then? But like you say, even in those days when slavery was actually active and people were going through the slavery, they would try to get away and find out that there was hardly no escape for a lot of them. Some were able to escape, and some did not. Read 17, Baba Kasha.
Khan. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 17. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
Can the basket in your store, the things that it's like. But I mean, even now, I guess in those days, slavery days, you only could get what the master allow you to have. That's the return. The reason why people eat, but I think they call it chettling the belly of the pig, right? Whatever that is. Some of the things like the Baymans have turned the pig feet into delicacy. Turn some parts of the animals into delicacy. You know why? Because the simple thing is, they wasn't giving you none of the good parts. So whatever was in your basket was the reject stuff. They were all the reject stuff with anything in you. So you wasn't allowed to eat the choice part of the meat. So right now we seem to be quite fine eating the rejected part of the meat that even we ate those days. I never could understand it. But again, we made it into a delicacy like only we can. Okay, go to 18.
Okay. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 18. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, and the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
We had the curse would be the fruit of thy body. Of course, normally the fruit of your body is normally the children. And in those days, like in the high days of slavery, even the children when the children were born, the master could take them and sell them. You never see them again in some cases. That in itself is bad enough. Then there's also, of course, you might have been farming, and I think it was another scripture which says that you may farm the crops but never eat it. You may even work in the as a husbandry, as a rearing animals, but never really enjoy it. Like I was saying, never enjoy the choice parts of it. They give you the throwaway parts of it. And then go to 20, Baba Kasha.
God. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 20. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, in all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me.
So our forefathers forsake the Lord, and it made things, and even right now, it made things more difficult for things to happen in our lives, for us to be prosperous, for us to be successful. It makes things much more difficult. And someone will say, well, but the other nationalities, or the other nations, or the other people, the Lord has given us this ability to be on top of every other nation on the earth, as we read in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 1. But we choose not to. So where we ended up now is at the bottom. And so now we at the bottom, and we say, and we still, even at the bottom, we still trying to give our position, our good position, to some other people, or accept them into our position when we find out that things could go well for us. Let me tell you, the 12 tribes are the most sympathetic people, the most loving and giving people on the whole earth. Because I've seen so many people fight, I mean, figuratively, fight to for the other nations to be accepted in the promise. I've just listened to so many of them. They fight because whenever whenever it comes to their attention that it may just be us and not the other 17 nations, they start right away fighting for at least one group for that nation they fight for all the time. Not all. But this is saying here that the Lord will cause cursing and vexation and rebuke, right, in all that thou settest thine hand to do, until thou be destroyed. And so it's just a hard time we have and we had. Now that the Lord is coming to the end and things seem like it's getting a little different, but we still have these challenges ahead of us. We still have these curses that identifies us. And this is my point. These identifying markers to help you identify who you are. You are one of these people, and if not, somebody needs to tell me who else fit these curses. All right? So, and until thou be punished quickly, because the wickedness of thine doing, whereby thou hast forsaken me. Our forefathers forsaken the Lord, and all the way down to right about now, our forefathers had forsaken the Lord. So now we are at the point now in the commanding General Yohana to go back and to serve the Lord, to understand everything, and now to do it. Because before now, we wasn't serving the Lord. And we didn't seem to be very interested in serving the Lord either. That's the other thing. So, but now, as time, because we all were caught up into religion. Religion makes you feel good. Everybody comes in, everybody do a dance, everybody do a shout, everybody jump and run around the church, and then after they leave, everybody turn to the same monster they was just to get out the door. All right. Okay. Okay, read 23, Babakasha. We're skipping down through some of them.
Okay. This is the book of Deuteronomy 28, chapter 28, and verse 23. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron.
So this is, again, this depicts a difficult time. As I was saying earlier, we live from paycheck to paycheck, the majority of the Israelites. And so it's hard at the top, it's hard at the bottom. If you could wait for 30 years and find at the end of the day, you probably even have $10,000 in the bank, you hardly own anything. You wonder, was it really worth it to wait all those years and at the end of the day end up with nothing? That's that hard life. You're caught between a hard life from day to day. At the top is hard, the bottom is hard. It's hard all the way through. And 25, Babakasha. We're gonna jump down to the last one, son.
Okay. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 25. The Lord shall curse thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shalt be removed in all the kingdoms of the earth.
Okay. So the blessing was we'll be blessed, and our enemies will be scattered. Now what they're saying, we're gonna be the ones who gonna be suffering when the enemies come up against us. The Lord is not gonna help us because of our disobedience. Now, all of these scriptures are to be read all the way down to, we're gonna jump because we're narrowing the time to the end. So there's a lot more that needs to be read, but we're gonna jump. I know it might have been. Let me see if there's another one or two I want to read before we actually. Let's see. Okay, read 28 and 48, Baba Kasha.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee.
When we read this, that in hunger, in thirst, and in nakedness, what we use this to say, basically, let's say for instance, the Bahamas, we import 80% of our consumables. That's food, right? Now, a good thing is we do have water. So, in thirst, but generally, Israelites have to expect the oppressor to provide food, to provide drink, and to provide clothing. Because on a large scale, we don't provide any of that for our people. And I say that any of that, we don't provide like a large, and again, there may be exceptions in every general rule, but generally for food suppliers, it's the heathens. For drink suppliers, it's the heathens. And for clothing supplying, it's the heathens. So what is it saying? That's another indicator. How we indicate to see who we are. And go read on. 49.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Now, this voice, if you didn't know, we had a few nations that use the eagle as a symbol. America is one. I think Rome used the eagle at some point also. There's a couple of nations that use the eagle. And of course, what is it saying too? That the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the ends of the earth. And this is what happened in the transatlantic slave trade. All right? Because of course we were brought over to the Americas. That one definitely used the eagle, as swift as the eagle flieth, the nation whose tongue thou shalt not. And again, we didn't speak the English language. We spoke our own native tongue. So yes, we couldn't understand them. Read on.
Verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor shew favor to the young.
And in times past, during those times, they show us how the slavers were so brutal. They didn't regard young, old, whatever. They would do whatever they want to whoever they want, because as far as they were concerned, we were all their property. They would beat men in the streets. They would beat women. They would sell babies. They had no regard for anyone. Old nor young, they didn't show favor. So, go to 28 and 64, Baba Kasha.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
Oh man, this verse here, This causes you to really think. When you think about this verse, this is saying the Lord shall scatter thee among all the people from one end of the earth even unto the other. So the Israelites have been scattered into every nation on the earth. And then it say, and there thou shalt serve other gods. Why God said that? You know what God said? He said, I'm pissed off at y'all. Because y'all was supposed to serve me. And guess what? Since you ain't gonna serve me, y'all gonna be scattered, you're gonna serve other gods. You can serve other gods. Who other gods you can serve? Which he said, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. So you can serve gods which you nor your fathers. You ain't know these gods who you're serving. And who God he was referring to? He said they know, even wood and stone. Now people don't liken this unto the day, but unto the day UPK liken this wood unto the cross, unto the white Christ on that cross. We say that's one of the gods that you know your fathers have known. And then the stone is the cobblestone. Okay, so we find those two that people worship, and like the scripture says, you know your fathers. You didn't know them, and your fathers didn't know them, and now because of disobedience, these are the gods we serving. We're not serving the Most High God. We're serving these other gods. Go ahead and read 68, and you can end up right after that.
Honorable Khan. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Another heavy scripture. Okay, so the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ship. Now, the story goes, if you didn't remember, when Joseph was sold into Egypt and the famine was in the land, and they had the little back and forth when Joseph sent them back and put the money back in the pouch and then send them back again, and then hold one of the brothers captive and tell him you need to bring your youngest brother, and and when all that pan out, Joseph then had his whole family go into Egypt. They walk there. They walk into Egypt. So now I said that to say this. They walk into Egypt. So what does it mean now when the Lord is saying, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again? The Lord will bring thee into Egypt again, but this time with ships. Okay, so we use the word Egypt when we translate that as bondage. Okay, so when we say it and say, so the Lord shall bring thee into bondage again with ship, and we say that is the transatlantic slave trade. That's how we got into bondage, with ships. Okay, and then by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more. What you ain't gonna see no more again? You ain't gonna see your homeland no more. You're gone. You ain't gonna see your homeland no more. There, say, thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies. Now, when you get sold, who you get sold unto? You get sold to the oppressor. Then the Bible is saying the oppressor is your enemy. Okay, for bondmen and bondwomen, I got to tell you what that is, because we look at all the slavery stuff, and we got sold to work as slaves. Okay, and no man shall buy thee. And what this buy means is like redeem. We have pawn shops down. You have to pawn something. They tell you, okay, you got 60 days. If you want to buy this back, you bring this amount of money, and you could get your item back. If you can't bring this amount of money, it belongs to us after that. And whatever we do, we do it. So this is the buyback method in this. No man will buy you. And so we understand that. Now, do you fit that category, Israel? I'm telling you, you do. So in fitting in this category, and of course, when you have the opportunity and time, go back and read the entire book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. And the first part of it tells you about the blessings, up to the 15, and the latter part talks about the curses. And if you find that you will see that you fit into there. And so all I'm saying is, I tried to present this case a few times to try and get it in your mind that you are Israelite. And then when it locks into your mind, there's a great responsibility that you have. You have this responsibility unto the Most High. You have a responsibility unto the other Israelites on the earth. You have a responsibility to now for us to gather ourselves together. And so when you do that, then you'll start coming into line of following the commandments for the Lord, which we made that agreement back all the way back when Moses was around. And he reminded us in the 27th and 28th chapters of Deuteronomy, the first verse. He reminded us that we made that agreement. We said something like, whatever the Lord has said will we do. And then blood was sprinkled on us, and then the deal was closed. But then after that, we started getting among other nations, and we wanted to do what they did. And that's how we got to where we are. We seem to always want to do what other people did. And so with that, remember before we go, with that, I'll pass the class over to Trooper Magawan.
This is the ISUPK security announcements. We got the ISUPK started out of 1 West 125th Street out of Harlem, New York. Rule for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There are another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21. Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew. Ma'ashera. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the teacher. Priest fund. Free will offering for priests. Not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. We have the Passover, of course, coming up on the 4th of April. And that will be in Houston, Texas. So gather with us and come celebrate. And with that, bit of Israel, Imajim. We will now render a salute to the brothers. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakatham, Tatamata, Sar, meaning to turn to face the sisters. We will now render a salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Alathan Ba'Shem Shai.
Yahweh Shema Alathan Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai.
With that, class is dismissed. Shalom.
Shalom, Trooper. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.